on top of my leak lock. I just do it that way. It's just double insurance is what it is. I feel pretty confident I won't get a call in like 5 days saying the thing, coming here and finding things out of gas because it leaked through one of these threaded fittings here. These usually last years like this without any problems, so that's why I like to do it this way. Okay, we gotta get the right one in the right place. So we got the low side, this is high side. I'm going to get this down underneath everything. This is how I do my, high side. This is how I do my capillary tubes for my controls. I make a tight circle. I wind up the extra material. I don't like it sitting and springing around because the vibrations and the wind and the fan, it will actually crack the tubing or cause it to hit something. Or the bottom of the control where it's connected, I've had it leak there. But I do a little spring like this, and that's usually takes up all the slack, and it's usually sufficient. I'll also wire or tie it down to some rubber wires here. They'll offer some support too. Some units, you get a lot of vibration in some units. Enough to literally crack the copper. That's good. Okay. Awesome. That'll stop the vibration. It's good to make sure these springs aren't touching each other either, because you'll get a little bite go through it. And I can dress it up. I'm gonna watch these ends of these things are sharp. Okay, I think we're good over here. It's time to change the dryer filter. Pull a vacuum on it. And then we're cooking. Here I want to point something out. When I'm working on a job like this, my tools are always at my knees, so when I don't leave it up on top of here, over there, back there, or on the floor. I always put them right in the same general spot so that when I search for them, I can find it within 5 minutes anyhow. But usually it's just a force of habit. You put them right near your knees, so when you're working, you can just reach down and grab it, Okay, time to change this guy. I'll try your filter. Oh boy, that's honored. Right. Here's something you don't see very often, but my line over here is 1/2 inch. Going inside, it's 1/2 inch. Coming off the receiver tank, it's 3/8. And what they did here is this is a 3/8 to 1/2 inch flare nut. You don't see that very often, but it goes from 3/8 to 1/2 inch flare. See, that was on. If you notice how tight that was on there, and secure. This is a good example of what old leak lock looks like. Somebody put leak lock on it years ago, and it held really good. It was hard to get it off, actually. Okay. If it was on there too tight where you just can't get it, you can warm it up with a torch, and it'll soften. Hopefully we don't have to do that. See, the best way to get these things apart is to get these wrenches close together so you can put your 2 hands on it. I have to get bigger wrenches. Well, that was on tight. The leak lock. It must be old leak lock. The old leak lock was very difficult to get off. Must have been on there a long time. The new leak lock is a little bit more pliable. The old leak lock was hard like a rock. That was on there very tight. Okay, it's something to kind of to note. This is the one I took off, and it's an 084. The 4 is 4/8, which means ½ inch. That's what the size is, ½ inch. So I got a 4. Difference is this is an 8 cubic inch dryer filter, and this one is twice the size. It's 16 cubic inches. I like the bigger ones. I don't like small dryer filters. I like the extra filter capacity. It doesn't hurt to put a little bit extra on there. Just be careful you don't get it inside the threads. I don't mind putting it on the surface of the bugle, but very sparingly. The copper has to hit on the surface of that bugle there, so this helps just a little tiny bit. And you don't ever want to crank it closed. I found the underside of these things are great for wiping the extra stuff off your hands. Got to catch the threads. If you're putting a flare nut on and it's not catching thread, don't force it, because then you're crossing over the threads and you're in doo-doo land. Okay, that's good and tight. You gotta know when it gets snug, you stop. If you crank it all the way down and more, you'll break the copper flare off. Lots of times they've been on there a long time and they're fatigued to start with. They're easy to, these old flares are easy to break off. And you got to get your flaring tool out and all over. Okay, so now control is wired in. The control's wired in. It goes down to the, let's see, it goes down to there's two blue wires. This blue wire goes down to the contactor coil right there. And it goes right on the contactor coil. And the other end of it goes to the the live leg here on the time clock. Okay. So now I'm going to put some nitrogen in it, check it for leaks, and then I'm going to start a vacuum on it and get that done. Okay, we're pulling a vacuum on it now. It'll be a little while. I'm going to let it run for a while. Get this whole system into a vacuum. So we have our new control installed. I have to set the pressure on it, and I have to check the pump down, make sure it shuts off right. New dryer filter, a larger one. And here's what we took out. We took out this old pressure control that's pretty shot. The low pressure control. And that's the suction filter. It's just terrible. It's on the suction line and it's made of steel. And the suction line's always got condensation on it or something. There's a new dryer filter. There's the old dryer filter. But yeah, we just got a new one on there. We just gotta wait for it to pull it back, and then I'm gonna put POE oil in it, 20%. And then I'm gonna charge it up with the refrigerant over there. Okay, now the vacuum's done, and now I want to put some POE oil into it. And I'm going to put 20% POE oil in. The compressor has mineral-based oil in it, and you can see it right there on the sticker. Okay, focus. You can see it says mineral-based oil. So what we're doing is, and Honeywell recommends it, it's putting 20% POE on top of the mineral-based oil. The mineral-based oil used to connect with the chlorine in the old refrigerants. The old refrigerant 12 or 22. I think this is a 22 compressor. And now we don't have any, this new refrigerant doesn't have chlorine in it. So the oil will get hung up in the evaporator coil or in tanks and whatever. So by putting POE oil in there, POE oil floats. It doesn't connect to the chlorine, it just floats through the system, and it will push the old oil back to the compressor. So that's the, so we're gonna start putting some POE oil in. Okay, now I'm putting the new refrigerant in, and you can see it. It's, what I'm doing is I'm letting it flow. My yellow hose right into the red hose and right into the liquid line. And you can see the activity a little bit going on in the and I'm just, right now I'm just letting it free flow in there. There's a solenoid valve on the suction. Can't see this too good. There's a solenoid valve, and it's keeping the suction line shut off pretty much. There's no pressure in the suction line. So I gotta find a non-glare spot for this. I I guess that'll work. And I guess now I can, I got pressure in there. I guess I can, alright, the compressor started up. It hesitated though. So I'm a little concerned about it. The trouble that I had not too long ago was that relay. I changed that relay on it. But when I turned the power on, the compressor just hesitated. The fan started up, but the compressor, it took a little bit, like 30 seconds before it kicked in. So I'm not sure if it kicked off on its internal overload or what exactly happened. We don't have a time delay on this of any sort. I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. I'm going to mention to the customer that I'm having a little bit of trouble with that compressor. Now, I did look up online this compressor. And it's a CR24KQ. Now, what that means is it's 24,000 BTU rating. Very close to that at a 45-degree evaporator, which means it's a high temperature compressor and it should have more torque in it, which that's a good thing. But this compressor apparently has gone through some wear with that relay being bad. And if you can see the serial number here, that 10 means it's a 2010. So it's like 5 years old now. But I'm a little concerned about it lasting another month or two or three, and then I'll be changing it. I hate to change it in February. But now it's rated at 24,000 BTUs at a 45-degree evaporator. We're running at a 20 to 24-degree evaporator, so we're not going to get 24,000 BTUs out of it. We're going to get more like 15,000 BTUs or 17,000. So we're down around a ton and a half in that range, and that's probably what the expansion valve's rated at, a 1 and 1.5 ton. I did check the valve, and it's rated for 407C, so I don't really have to worry about changing this. We're running 407F. It's just about the same thing. 407C and 407F. The 407C has a little bit more refrigerant 134A in it, and the 407F has less 134A in it. But we're getting a nice cold suction line. My sight glass filled up pretty good. It means that the expansion valve bulb got cold and closed the valve down, and it backed up. I'm getting heat out of this fan. This fan is throwing the heat off up here. Nothing back here on the bottom. Nothing coming out this way. It's all out, up and up. That's why I like to put the blades out as far as I can. It's because of this type of fan blade. Some fan blades throw a lot of air back, which is nice, but this one throws it up. Now, if that blade is too far forward, it's going to throw the heat into the cowling, and then it's just going to circulate. It's not going to move a lot of heat. But it seems to be doing fair. Head pressure's okay. Suction pressure is a little highish. I've got a 24-degree evaporator already. That's nice. brushes are pretty much where they should be. I'm not too unhappy with that. My amperage on the compressor is, let's see, it's 10-11 amps. There's something interesting that I complained yesterday or the other day about one of my videos that Copeland should put the run load amps on the compressor. They used to, in the old days, the old semi-hermetics always had RLA on it. But now they only have the locked rotor amps on there. And somebody was nice enough to mention that the run load amps is supposed to be 1/5 of the locked rotor amps, which means I calculated and it was 14 amps is what the run load is supposed to be. So that was kind of nice. I appreciate the fellow for mentioning that. So it's, according to that, 1/5 of 70 amps is 14 amps, and we're getting, where are we here? Oh. We're getting almost 11 amps, so we're okay. We're comfortable. This line's running very. Suction line's getting plenty of water on it. It's kind of nice to see. Running nice and cold. I may have to, I'm going to let it run a day or two. And I'm going to check the TD on the evaporator coil. To see if it ices up or not. But it looks like it's running colder. The suction line's running colder than the 408 did. Okay, kind of running now. Got 211 head pressure. It's always been a cool day. 44 pounds suction. And 20-degree evaporator, and that's good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna come back on Monday, and I want to check it. I might have to adjust the TD on the expansion valve a little bit. It looks like it's open a little bit. I left the refrigerant, just a bubble in the sight glass, and what's happening is the expansion valve is opening and closing. And my suction line is very cold coming back. So I'm going to, I'm not going to put any more gas in it. I'm going to leave it right about there. But that's it for today, guys. We got a little wind today. I look like Darth Vader. Luke. Yeah, that's okay. We'll see you guys.